Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Leadership Void Podcast. I'm Enrique with my co-host Vince to bring you the best in our veteran military spouse and first responder community. And Vince will introduce today's guest.
Thanks, Enrique. We're closing out this month of July with Ken Kwiatkowski. Guess what? He's the president and CEO of Grasshole Corporation, all the way from Bradenton, Florida. Ken, welcome to the show. Just tell us a little bit about you.
I'm a veteran of Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I have two beautiful children, both grown. One's a fireman EMT on special ops up in Polk County. My daughter is a nurse in the CHD department up at All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg, both obviously following kind of a service thing like I did. My wife is a computer person in computer reporting. I've been working for the same company almost 30 years now down here in Sarasota.
Now, that's amazing. I love the fact that you have a legacy of service within your own home. I would love my children to go on and serve, but they all bailed out.
You know, my son decided, he got accepted to many colleges, and he decided, I'm going Maverick here. I'm going full blown, and I'm just going into the firefighter thing. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my dad. He's right here. This is his World War II picture.
Oh yeah,
he went into the Navy at 17. It's his birthday. He's been gone. It'll be 6 years in October. So salute out to Dad.
Amen, amen. Hey, Ken, you talk about transition from service to now service to the community. So tell us about Grasshole Corporation.
Sure. Well, before I went into the military back in the 80s, I had an accounting degree, and I worked for State Street Bank as a controller for a mutual fund. So I was always in that accounting aspect. And what happened, there was the condo glut in the late 80s, and a lot of the banks went bankrupt. And it's like, well, what the heck? I'll go do 20 years and get out and have a pension and this and that. Unfortunately, I got injured during my service years, and came back out, and I struggled a little. My future wife, who I met while in the service, was living in Boston, and I actually took a job. I was driving around one of those thrifty rental vehicles around Logan Airport, doing 100, 200 miles an hour, picking up passengers. And I did some work over at the VA shelter in Boston, actually set up a FIDA program there to help those people do their tax returns. And eventually I got a position at a company up in Nashua, New Hampshire. Unfortunately, 6 months later, they sold. I had some friends racing amateur over at Daytona motorcycles, and it was February, it was snowing. I go, come on by and pick me up. After that, it was kind of history. Wound up at a small CPA firm here in Sarasota, went to Arthur Andersen for a few years, and then left. Thankfully, I left before their demise. I got involved in doing accounting and CFO work for not-for-profits, like the Sarasota Opera for one, the Outdoor Academy, and I kind of wound up at the Cool Today, Plumbing Today, as their CFO for a couple of years. It was more of a contractual thing, and kind of always had my own companies. Then the vision came upon me. I needed to create a product that is going to protect my sprinkler heads. These silly cement donuts that they make, they're great, but they sink, they crack, they break. I had one sprinkler head that had 3 cement donuts. So anyways, I started making them out of paper. Then I went to cardboard. Then eventually I bought some material, plastic material from Lowe's, and put together with some crazy glue, and going back and forth with some colleagues on how big the disc should be on the grass hole, and eventually came down to this design, and got the CAD drawings done. So within 5 months, I went from cardboard to CAD drawings to manufacturing and on the shelves, and that's including setting up the website, filing for the corporate entity, filing for the design patent, utility patent, and the initial trademark in 5 months. And people say, wow, that's quite a it's thankfully I have these attributes that I'm able to do this, and I try to teach other people the same thing. how to do things.
Well, absolutely, Ken. You know, you went from an accountant and planted that seed, no pun intended, to where you at today. You know, being an entrepreneur, solving a problem that you saw, and in 5 months, guess what? You resurrected and erected Grasshole Corporation. So kudos to you and everything you've done since the inception. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. What lessons learned, entrepreneurship lessons learned, or challenges you like to share with our audience, or how do you give back to the community?
The biggest challenges is putting together the right team. I have no employees. Everybody is subcontracted. By the grace of God, I was actually able to find a veteran who had a manufacturing company close by. We have kind of a brother relationship with that, and I could walk into his factory anytime, and it's just one of those relationships that you can't put a price tag on. What I try to do in my marketing and giving back to the community, and you can go to my website and see 941 Vets, SRQ Vets, the Veteran Ranch, which I'm a board member of. I also created a entity, a humanitarian not-for-profit called Heal Corp. And we have doctors and nurses over in Ukraine helping those unfortunate people, because we know civilians are the worst traumatized in any war. In addition to that, obviously, I support the National Cemetery down here in Sarasota. They have a lot of my grass holes over there. One of my near and dear is the Sarasota BMX track. I was kind of inspirational there. And getting them funding from Sarasota County. It took me 2 years to get the initial $375,000 for the track, subsequently showing economic impact in the community with all our races and so forth. $3.2 million to build the Supercross track on the existing facility that's been there since I'm going to say 70, 72. And the near and dear to my heart is the Joey Powers Leukemia Project. Joey had passed away with leukemia. He actually fought it, then it came back full thread, and he was in school with my daughter, and they talked about getting married after college and their extended family, and saw Joey in between, but then the leukemia came back full-fledged, and they actually induced coma, and he passed away at All Children's Hospital. So that's another story with my daughter. That's a whole 360, how she wound up back there taking care of children. So that's my give back to the community. I like giving hand up, not handouts. That's my philosophy. Because if you teach a man to fish, he could fish for life. If you give him a fish dinner, he's good for one turn. So all my things that I do for SRQ Vets, for Toys for Tots, I give them fishing poles. Half a dozen. I always make sure I at least have one pink pole in there for a girl, because they could fish all year round here in Florida. There's no doubt about that. So it's giving back. It's, my motto is God, family, country, and supporting our community the best I can. I boast a little. I am the smallest revenue generated company that supports more not-for-profits than any other company in my community. And if you want to beat me doing that, I challenge you. I challenge you.
A great challenge indeed, because it sounds like you have a great impact, not only as a business owner, but also in your community. And I wanted to ask you, you created this Grasshole Corporation, this device that not only impacts community people, but it impacts you as a business owner, and also now impacting in regional aspects, right? But what's on the horizon for Grasshole Corporation?
Currently, most of my sales are generated through Amazon. I found, it's dancing with the devil. They take about 40% plus, and you advertise there. Yes. And so it's hard to give back to these organizations. Yeah, I haven't paid myself a dime in 2.5 years. I have other companies. I do CFO work, corporate tax returns. So that helps. And I'll take a not-for-profit position short term as a controller, CFO. So that kind of keeps us going. And because the bills still help come through. Um, so my strategic move, right, whereas growing more sales on my website, I've engaged and I haven't finalized with a company out of Boston. I was hoping for a veteran company that could deal with my SEO, that could deal with my website, that could deal with the social media. I just want one-stop shopping. I'm currently engaged with a company out of New Jersey. They're buying 12,000 units. They're in the process of being made, which is a start. So I'm looking to expand B2B as well as keeping my B2C going. And instead of me doing all the fulfillment on my end with my website sales, my manufacturer will do that. So we're working on a price, what it costs to package up a box, ship it out. They would automatically receive, the invoice, the labels, the shipping labels. So it's grown the company vertically and not on Amazon or any other platform, Pinterest or Shopify. I'm looking to just grow my website sales. So I always try to tell people, well, I just need one more. I bought all your product on Amazon. I go, well, if you bought it on my website, I would have just thrown in an extra one or two. So it's getting that identity. I don't have the money like Amazon does or Lowe's or Home Depot to market to get me up to the top of, a Google ad. So, but I'm definitely going to wind up on the first page. So if you're looking for Grasshole, it's going to the website, www.grassholesystem.com. You can just pull up Grasshole, Google it. It'll take you to my website. That's the key.
Yeah, that's the key indeed. The future is bright. The trajectory is going to diversify that portfolio. Yes, Amazon is a one of those, giants, but it's a good start for you, but definitely that 40% is not conducive to running a business. And hopefully New Jersey and other states will jump on board and other partnerships for Grasshole Corporation. So we'll have more information at the end to talk about how to get a hold of this wonderful individual called Ken and his company. But now let's transition and talk about leadership. What do you do, Ken, to sharpen your skill sets to aid you to thrive in your professional life?
I guess is knowing all the hurdles that I've gone through in my lifetime and, talking with my colleagues. I had lunch yesterday, which I do frequently with my college roommate. He's very successful, has a couple companies on the stock exchange and his sidekick, and learning from other people. And sometimes you could actually learn from a janitor how to be a better leader than you can from another CEO. Surprisingly enough, the simple things in life, keep it simple. Why make it difficult? Why recreate the wheel if you don't have to? There's other people who have done this, and it may not be perfect for your thing, but if you can modify it, for instance, somebody I need an investment plan for my company. I could go to another company or another not-for-profit, get their investment plan and how they do their investments, and just kind of reconfigure the wheel. There's nothing out there that hasn't been done. Well, besides Grasshole. So always looking for, I have a great listing and I have a lot of people that I can pick up the phone, call, talk to, have lunch, and deal with this mentorship and sharing ideas and coming up with a solution. But like Thomas Edison said, my best successes are my failures. And you're never going to forget what you did wrong, but what you're doing is making that failure a success. It is trying sometimes, and there's sometimes that you want to give up, and and it's just like, no, I can't. I got to finish what I start. And that's the military. You never give up until your last breath. And there's tough days that I don't want to get out of bed. You got the PTS, I got the migraine headaches, the acid reflux, and it's like, all right, let me just get out of bed. Let me get back in my boots and start moving. Once I start moving, I'm good. Okay, maybe I need to just go see somebody, get out of the house and get a breath of fresh air. It's the mental state of mind. But the biggest relief when I'm really down, it's power and prayer. I could text my brothers and it's like, I need prayers today, and I'll start saying a prayer, and it's like, there's power when there's more than 3 in a room. So I give it all to God. I mean, without him, I don't know where I'd be. He really, my hair's standing up talking about this. I'm preaching being an apostle here of Christ, and which I am. I was born and raised Catholic, but I consider myself a Christ follower.
Amen. And there's some things that move objects, some others move mountains. So let's just leave it at that.
Yes.
Well, you talk
Yeah.
about all the things that you've learned, right? And there's just so many through your trajectory in service, through business, learning those things, and now where you are. And so I wanted to ask you, what advice did you receive during that time that you would like to pass on to an emerging leader today?
Think before you act. Try to be proactive as you can. Your plan may not be perfect, but work through it. The only thing that's written in stone is the 10 Commandments. Everything is a hybrid. The Declaration of Independence, it's a hybrid, it's a living document. You got to be able to, you have your game plan. Hey, you may have to change your game plan. Okay, I can't get my material from this place anymore. I need to shop over here. You need to be acceptable of changes, and sometimes it's hard. I have a hard time. A lot of people want me to go on TikTok. I have a problem with that, but it's not about my personal. Sometimes it's about growing the business. I still haven't gone to TikTok because I have my reasons.
No worries, brother. We all have reasons for how we decide to grow our company and how we grow ourselves. But think before you act is some great advice, and you have literally lived it, done it, got the T-shirt, as they say. And let's Ken, dive into a memorable leadership aha moment. What would that be like, and what would you like to share with your audience and our audience today?
Aha moment was probably yesterday in talking with my colleagues, and we were talking about, even though you got to do what's for the business. And the analogy to me was, when your dog is old, he's sick, it's a business decision. It's not a personal decision, that it's what's best for the dog. To euthanize them, it's sad as it seems, but it's the best thing for that. Whereas I need to take out my personal, and sometimes I get so sucked into the personal of Grasshole that I need to focus on what's best for the business and not what's best for me. So taking the selfishness out of there. And I think the biggest thing was, we had a friend, a brother, that his family was moving from our church. They were moving up to Atlanta. And at the last minute, I was inspired, actually on the way to the event, to pay for everybody's lunch. And I was a little upset that I didn't get a lot of thank yous. Nobody came back and thanked me. Then I started thinking, it's like, Jesus walked along the road. He healed all these people, all these Christians. The only person that came back to him was a Samaritan to thank him. So I got to put that out there, because it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about my company, and it's about doing the right thing and trying to be ethical at the same time. And it's tough in this world. It's tough.
It's tough but rewarding, and I'll tell you that you'll never go wrong by doing things that are in the best interest of others, and definitely a leadership quality that we should all endeavor to do. Now, you mentioned Ken earlier, choosing right. Make sure you choose right before you do, because
Yes.
it does really impact sometimes your trajectory from then on there. And I wanted to ask you, what are certain strategies that you use with yourself or the company to deal with times of change and challenge?
I think the biggest challenge was during COVID, when the plastic prices went through the roof because everybody was needing to make plexiglass. And I mean, the price of plastic went from like $1.60 a pound to $3 a pound. And it's like, Okay, so I needed to change my pricing. I was a little concerned that people would not buy my product, even though it's a quality product, but hence, it was still selling. Sales have, steadily increased. I had great increase last year from the previous year, but it's knowing your pricing. I mean, just because it was a hard decision to raise my prices, but I did, and it worked out. It worked out. But in my company, I am the janitor, the shoemaker, me and my illustrator, we box up every single grass hole, every single one. Now, and I'm talking, I know we're well over 100,000 that we've boxed up in the last almost 2.5 years, and that's a lot. And I'm in there in the trenches with and doing it. So you can't be, just because you're the president doesn't mean you can't go clean a toilet, is what I'm saying. You got to humble yourself. I mean, and be humble and not boast about how great your sales are. Because that's one big thing, being a leader. Be humble. You could be a billionaire, be humble. Whatever the case may be.
Absolutely, folks. And we're so excited to hear all the great things, Ken, you have shared. Be humble is so important, but wear many hats as we do. He has boxed 100,000 grass holes and maybe the next 100,000, but soon he will diversify, get some more partners, more collaboration. And folks listening, how to get a hold of this great product or this great individual. Ken, tell us how to contact you or Grass Hole Corporation.
Well, you can pull me up on my website. You can type in Grasshole and you should find my company, but www.grassholesystem.com. And my email is ken@grassholesystem.com. And you can find me on Facebook under Angus McGrath. Grasshole Company's there. You can message me there as well, or email me directly. And that's it. So I'm also on LinkedIn. Grasshole has a profile out on LinkedIn. You can message me there as well. And please go to my website, look at some of my videos, what I've done, look at the organizations that I support, and then I'm proud to support and will continue to support.
All right, folks, and we'll have all that information as part of the show notes and video, so you can get a hold of Ken and his great company. We thank you for all that you are doing not only in business but in the community. Sounds like you have a huge impact in the community. And folks, if you want to get a hold of us at the Leadership Void Podcast, the Leadership Void at gmail.com is where you'll send that correspondence. If you want to see a particular leadership topic covered on our show, or you want Vince and I to curate a list of guests, we would love to do that by that means.
Absolutely. And, today it was all about Ken and Grass Hole Corporation. You know why? He protects those sprinkle heads with his product, but also the community is protected by walking on the grass. So we got some great things here going on. I love it. And we talk about who sponsored us. You mentioned FAVOB. Yes, one of our great sponsors, Triple Nickel, and also VEI. So we're grateful for their sponsorship. But today is all about Ken and Grass Hole Corporation. And have a great day, sir.
Enrique, Vince, thank you very much. You have a great day too.